Makes. I am, of course. I just thought I've got a second. I could just use my scraps and just quickly make something. We have got for you today a beautiful, beautiful cashmere touch, cashmere soft bamboo toweling back in stock. I love this stuff. We don't always carry it. I've managed to put a extremely good deal for you today, which makes me very, very happy. What also makes me very happy is having more scraps left. If you've never felt our cashmere touch bamboo toweling, it's beautiful. I love using bamboo because it's so eco-friendly. There's no nasty dyes or anything in it. It's well, if you've ever seen our well, let me show you. I'm very pernickety what I put near my kids' skin, right? They do not have fizzy bath things or anything like that. Their skin's too sensitive for it. But you can see here, look, this is Captain Small, and she was truly small, wrapped in our bamboo toweling. This is just, see, I still have these and use these all the time. So that's a little head thing, so that you put that, it's got Velcro on it, so you push your hair out the way while you do your makeup. These, just made another one. I have got piles and piles and piles of these. These take off your makeup. A little bit of coconut oil on your face, brings it off, an absolute treat. Cleans them, does the job. But yes, like I say, my kids have only ever been washed in aloe, and so very, very sensitive skin. But this bamboo toweling is so beautiful and so soft. This isn't what we're making today. This is just a byproduct of what you can use with bits you have left over. So you can make the hair wrap with what you've got left over. You can make some of these with what you've got left over. Full instructions for all of them. That's our lovely Gemma, looking particularly fabulous. And away you go, really. There, look at little Captain Small. She's not so small now, with a little broken wrist. Because obviously first week of the holidays, that needed to happen. So that's what we have got for you today. But not really, because what we've also got, summer holidays, right? We're going to go to the beach. We're going to go swimming. We're going to do all of those things. Mums, trying to keep everything together and herd children in the right directions and keep out... Oh, the bags drives me mad. So, here's what I thought. Stuff everything in a bag and then attach the towel to the bag. What's she talking about? What is she on about? Let me show you. This is today's make. Gemma can't quite get her head around it yet, and that's absolutely fine. So, what you have is a little zippy-uppy bag here that you can keep your goggles. It's all fully lined. Look, very smart. That you can keep your goggles, your wallet, your sun cream, whatever else it is, your swimming costume, your hair wrap, your makeup removal stuff if you go into the swimming pool. That all goes in the front pocket. Then the back pocket here is created by the towel. And the towel tucks in. So when you undo the towel, you have a full towel and your stuff in one place. Now, because we've put a zip on it, your stuff's not coming out. That's fine. If you want to go in the sea, then that's fine. Just turn it over and it's just going to look like you've left your towel. You haven't left your bag and everything else with it. And then when you're ready to go, just fold it in like so. And tuck it in. And you can do it as neatly or as stuffily as you need. That bit also tucks in. Tuck, 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 tuck. And away you go. Ha-ba! So I can pop all my bits and bobs in there, and away I go. So when I'm marching through, because we often go to the beach at Ready Money or someone like that down in Foy and Cornwall, and you have to walk through, there's nowhere to park nearby, so you have to walk. So if I've got everything I need in there and the towel actually attached, it's happy days. If I can actually put that on a child to carry, so much the better. I'm winning. That is win-win. Then I've got my hands free for the dogs or a child or whatever it is that I need, and away we go. Away we go. Absolutely perfect. So that is what today's make is going to make you. Now I've got so much. Don't know where to put it. Let's pop it over here for now. Something a little bit useful. There we go. We've found fabrics. These are the colours of the toweling. So let's go through these. This is blue on top, silver, teal and rose. They are the 4 colours. Now, here's the thing. These are for a metre. Bearing in mind, out of that metre, you will get your towel, you will get your hair wrap, and you will also get little face wipes as well. So you're getting quite a lot out of that. But here's the thing. You are going to need fabric to either make the bag with or line. You can go into your stash, absolutely. But here's the thing. We thought, I'll show you these ones in a minute. 1/2 metre for your outer, 1/2 metre for your lining and binding. Or a full metre here out of these would do the trick. These are our chambrays. So if you pop a metre of that in your bag and pop a 1/2 metre or more of a chambray in your basket, will give you that chambray for free. That 1/2 metre of chambray for free. Which means that you then only need to decide what you want in terms of your outer fabric. If you want to put a metre in there, then you're done. You can have your outer fabric and everything done the same. So this is just our grey. I've used that on mine, and you can see, goes very beautifully with lots of these. This is only while stocks last, and I've only got a bolt of each of those. That is your pink. You might not want to use this for this project. It's entirely up to you. You might just want to do an awful lot of face wipes, and I would not. This is, gosh, these normally have the names on them. This is aqua, I think. And if you wanted a contrast with the teal, then that would work really nicely. But just go and have a look. We normally have these written on the end. This is turquoise. Works nicely with the blues and the... this one is royal, I believe. And that looks really nice with the blue. Gemma's just messaged me. What do you want, Gemma? Teal, silver, rose, pink and blue. Yes, 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 that's what I said. Yeah. And then we've got, this is bottle, which if you're going with greens, does not look too bad there. This actually looks really nice with the grey. That's the lighter green. Actually, the green and the pink, I think, is always nice. I'd be going there with your is it buttercup? I can't remember. This is fuchsia. So again, makes some nice contrast with the grey. The grey is so versatile, the silver rather. This is your magenta. Again, works nicely with the pink. And this one is the red. None of these chambrays are a deep, deep red, so you're all good. Now, if you wanted to do the outer, the lining and the binding all in the same fabric, then either grab yourself a metre of the chambray or, and you would have absolutely plenty, a 1/2 metre of your Emily Blossom Liberty. Gemma, we were going to do something with the price on this. Can we take another £1 off to make it 13.99 a 1/2 metre? This is a 108, so that's 108 inches from selvage to selvage. So you would have plenty and some left over there. Doesn't that blue look absolutely beautiful with the blues and the silvers? That is your pale sky. And then this is your marine blue. And this then becomes something that you keep. This is something, if you've done Liberty and bamboo toweling, this is something that you always have and that you keep. If you're someone that gets up and does your laps in the morning, these will also go through the wash as well. How beautiful is this pink? So this is your powder rose. How stunning is that? Actually with that as well. Absolutely beautiful. And then you've got your red. I can't help it. I really love the yellows together and the greys. Actually, I have to tell you that these two go quite nicely together as well. Look, if you wanted the buttercuppy colour in that. And then that's the bottle green. And then we get into the greys, which just work an absolute treat. And that is clay. Look at that with your grey. Isn't that fabulous? I really love that. Perfect. And which grey is this? This is your charcoal. There you go. So that's what we are looking at in terms of all your different colours today. So take your pick, decide which ones you want. Now, if you are going for, I'm just going to keep that grey to one side because I might just make mine out of Liberty today. I'm going to put these ones back. Let me show you other fabrics that you might want to go with. So bear in mind, I've used this for my lining, and then you need a 1/2 metre for the outer. This is a Sanderson, and it is so, so pretty. It's tagged on today's show, so if you go to Natasha Makes and you go to Textile Tuesday, you will see it. Jane and I both loved it with the blue, or the silver, or the teal. The only one we didn't like it with was with the pink, but the rest we were like, oh, it's so pretty. And then, of course, the fish. This, someone said, is it mackerel? Oh, it might be. It just says catch the drift. This is Tamales Bay by Art Gallery Fabric. This goes with the blue, the silver and the teal so nicely because the tail is tealy colour on there. So for those top three, absolutely perfect. And then for the pink, because we didn't want the pink left out, this is a tilde stripe. This is a tea-towel stripe. It is Cantucci stripes in plum, but we just thought that went with a pink. I said to Jane, if you were to do one of these for your granddaughter, would it be in this? She was like, yes, yes it would be. Thought as much. So there are just a few other options just to throw out there for you. But the big deal today is your metre of toweling with a free 1/2 metre of our very, very beautiful chambray. I've got no words today. They've all disappeared off. They can come back any time. It will make this show a lot easier. So, in the interest of time, I'm going to go with my Liberty, all right? Just because I'm not going to have to cut so many strips. So if you don't want to be sewing lots of binding strips together, this is your weight. And the half metre is plenty. You'd probably get 2 out of it. Would you? No. If you got one of these, so say you went for the grey to bind with, how much would you get? Yeah, you could get 2 out of this, outer and lining, if you did your binding in that one. Which suddenly, like, oh crikey, hang on a minute, we're getting a lot there. Maths. I disappeared yesterday, Jane will tell you. I disappeared yesterday. I was like, Jane, I've got to go and maths. I could be sometime. And I was, because I did have to go and maths. Let's have a look. Jane just sent me a little message. Bloodwind says, good morning, Natasha from Wet Devon. Cynthia says, greetings. Great idea using a towel. I made a quillo, which was a quilt that converted into a pillow. Well, that's just it. You can then rest your head on it, can't you, at the beach, which is the other nice thing as well. Should we have a quick hello to everybody on Facebook whilst we're here, just to say hello before we get going? As ever, if you look at the pattern, Gemma will have written, will have copied out my "you will need" so that we know. Did poor Emily fall off her roller skates? No, she didn't, Jane. So on Tuesday last week, Emily went to play at a friend's house and decided that tightrope walking, or trapeze, one or the other, was the way forward. Unfortunately, she's not very good at it and fell off and landed on her wrist. So Emily loves a drama. So I didn't believe how bad it was until Friday. I feel awful even saying this out loud. But honestly, Emily could make a drama out of anything. So, and if she thinks she'll get a cold compress or a bandage, like, so much the better. But yeah, Thursday night when she just knocked it and was in tears, I was like, oh, maybe this has gone on for too long. So took her, we had x-rays Friday. It's only a little tiny break. So she hasn't even got it plastered. It's just in a splint. But yeah, I'm not winning any parenting awards. But you would think, wouldn't you, given that her newfound favourite love of all time is now roller skating, that it would have been that. But no, she just fell off something. Claire's here, Nick is here, Joe's here. On my way to Farmer's Dog for a meal tonight and taking my new cork bag. Ooh, nice. Where is Farmer's Dog? I need to know. Sue says that she wants to go there too. And is it as good as everybody says? I think if it's the place I think it is, I need to go there too. Ginny's here. Next year it's in Stowe. Oh, is it? Oh, I don't know. We need to know. Caroline's here. Good morning. Camping with the grandsons in Somerset. Bit rainy here, but we need it. But that's what Jane and I said this morning. We looked out the window and went, oh, raining, but we do need it. Luckily watching in pieces, they're teenagers having a lie-in. Ah, yes. The deal for the free half metre chambray and the metre of toweling doesn't seem to show up at the shopping cart. It should do, Anne. It should do, but if not, just put a little note in. Bear with. Oh, it's Jeremy Clarkson's pub in Burford. Oh, I love Burford. Burford's beautiful. It should happen at checkout, Anne. If you put in your metre of toweling and a half metre, even if you put in like a metre of chambray, it should take half a metre off. There we go. Right. There you go. You need to start the checkout process, Anne, and then it should work. Ah, good. Right. Actually, if that's Clarkson's pub, that's not too far from us. Ooh. Right, I'm going to cut myself. Gemma, you're going to have to take down half a metre of this, because I am going in. Well, you see that, there is a method to my madness. Then Emily can have this one, and Freddie can have the fishy one, and then there will be no arguments because this fabric is called Emily Blossom. So anything that I make with it, she just assumes is hers anyway. So, you know. May just as well not disappoint there. So, from this, we will cut what we require for our outer, and then the rest we will have for our binding. Now, the beautiful thing, if you are using a directional fabric, then cut 2 squares, sew them together. But I'm not. I'm using one that is non-directional. Is too big for my strapology. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, so you can, if you are... If you are working with a non-directional fabric like your chambray, so your chambray will not need to be cut into squares. You can cut it in one long length for your bag outer or lining. That's absolutely fine. And the same actually will go for this. So if I just trim off the selvages here, oh, it's my birthday soon, in a couple of weeks. Maybe I could convince Josh to take me there for my birthday. Ooh. I shall drop some heavy hints. Either that or I'll just have to take the girls. We'll get there, one way or another. We'll get there. Do you have to book, Joe? Is it a book in advance? And Sue, where am I thinking of then? There's meant to be a really nice place near Lou, which has got some sort of fishy type name. Or a foxy name or something that's meant to be absolutely, it's probably like the battered trout or something. Where am I thinking of that's meant to be really, really, really good? I can't remember. I can't remember my own name at the moment half the time, let alone anything else. So that will be my outer and my lining. I'm going properly all out whip-woo on this. But if I had a ½ metre of chambray, then I could have lined in my chambray and saved that other one for another outer if I wanted to make another one. Now you can see I have got all of this left. I can either use that for my binding, or I can go, do you know what, actually, binding out with something that's already 2 and a bit metres, 2 metres 70 is going to be the one. Now, for your binding, is it the clay that I have a ½ metre of? Yes, it is, Gemma, and it's very beautiful. Very beautiful indeed. I'm just going to change the angle for you, but everything's just... There you go. Okay. I've gone with 2-inch binding. And I'm going to show you how to join them together. This is not going to be difficult. Now, when I did my bag, I used up all the leftovery bits I cut into 2-inch strips and did them into one great long length. So I only used up half a metre, was fine for my lining and my outer out of that chambray. And then I've got lots left over that I can use if I want to do hair wraps and stuff like that. So just place them right sides together at right angles. Now you can pin this, you can draw lines, but basically we're going to go from the top left to the bottom right. I don't cut the selvages off until I've sewn, because if I put my sewing machine on there, I know where I'm aiming for. If I've got that flush, then I'm kind of making it up, but now I know that I'm heading from that to that, and that's it. It's that easy. And when you've got a lot of them to do, because you're using up all your scraps, it helps if you know where you are headed. You can just draw a line on there if you wish. Where are my sharp and good scissors? There we go. And then snip that off. Take out your pin, don't forget that. And you can press that. Okay. We are going to have a little pressing moment. Please bear with. Bear with me, caller. Because I didn't earlier. Well, I didn't start off by pressing anything. I was like, oh, it's fine. It'll just fold. Because I was trying to do things quickly, right? Because, you know, very busy and important person. In my own world, clearly. But I would say, actually, don't be an idiot. Because I then had to actually just come back and press it anyway. So pressing it just really helps. We're not going to do 4-fold binding. We're just going to do 2-fold binding because that is easiest. If you want to be even more frugal, don't bind it. And this would have been, if Jane didn't work for me, this would have been my option. I would have just turned over the edge of my toweling and turned the hem over twice, and I would have just sewn that down. But Jane went, oh, but no, you do need, you're right, because with my initial one that I'd made, I'd only gone down the raw edges. She's like, no, you need binding all the way around. I was like, really? But equally, if you don't want to bind, it's not a problem. You can just fold over your edges once, fold them over again, and just hem them down. No one is going to mind. If you don't want to do all of this bit, and bear in mind that I have a deal with Jane. It's like, Jane, watching me sew on meters of binding is not going to be the most exciting for everybody to watch. So the deal is, I'm going to sew on the first bit, sew on the next bit, show you how to do a mited corner in case you don't know, and then I'm going to hand it over to Jane, who's just going to finish it off for me whilst I make the bag. Have I pressed enough now? Have I? Oh, look, I'm nearly halfway. Excellent. Jane was laughing at me yesterday as I was mucking out the bunnies. She's like, what is it? What is it that you're putting off, Natasha? It's like writing up my instructions. She's like, all right. I said, how did you know? She said, well, I iron. She said, whenever I don't want to do something, it's like, I just iron. And then Glenn says to me, what are you putting off, Jane? Everybody knows. But the thing is, if you're doing something useful, we call it procrastinating. Yeah. Still doing something useful. There we go. Surely this must be enough by now. Surely to goodness, but how stunning is this going to be? I'm still so in love with this fabric. Yes, I've used the fish and I love the fish and I bought the fish. It was meant to be for Josh's fishing bag, but I don't think this side of the move I'm going to have time to make that. Here we go, nearly done. Ah! Right, I have got plenty now, and that was just from 2 strips. I might have just managed enough. It would have been a little bit touch and go with just 1 strip. Right, okay. Here is my beautiful bamboo. Honestly, it feels gorgeous. Let's talk about care of the bamboo. So, yes, it is insanely soft, and yes, it is incredibly absorbent, but only if you do not use fabric conditioner. I've said it so many times. Please, 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 if you use our bamboo toweling, please do not. If you want it to say soft, if you want it to say absorbent, please, 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 please do not use fabric conditioner on your towels. They just will not absorb anymore. It bungs up the filaments that do the absorbing in these natural fibres. So please, 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 please do not use it. If you want your towels to come out nice and fluffy when you've put them in the tumble dryer, please just pop a little bit of white vinegar in. It sounds ridiculous and you think that it's going to come out smelling of vinegar. Honestly, it doesn't. It honestly, honestly, honestly doesn't. And it's far more natural and isn't going to upset your hormones by being super stinky or anything like that. It's not a hormone disruptor like so many of the other fabric softeners are. Please be careful about what you use. I am quite passionate about it, as you can probably tell. I do want everyone, yeah. In fact, you can get from a company called Minimal, if you want a scented one, but it's all natural, so it's not hormone disruptor, then you can get a lemon. It's got natural lemon in it, from a company called Minimal. So they only use natural ingredients, and it's for me a much nicer alternative. Lecture over, but you may just well, if you're going to buy this beautiful bamboo tanning, then you're going to want to, you know, have it the best that you possibly can. Right. So just checking. I've cut this end to end. Yes, I have. This is going to be my towel, and then what I have left I can then turn into I can turn that into a toweling wrap. If we get time, we can do that later, but we're going to curve off that corner and then do a straight line down to there, curve off that corner and pop a little bobble on there. We'll save that for later. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you start your binding on this. What I would do is fold under. I haven't even chopped off. That's how lazy I am. Lazy / time efficient, I'd like to think. I'm going to fold under. Just by the end of your, what's the word I want? Seriously, what's the word I want? Don't know. It eludes me. Just by the selvage, that's it. You can start on any side, really doesn't matter. And you're going to put those raw edges against the edge of your towel, and you're going to sew that 1/4 inch all the way around. If you do not have a seam gauge, can I please just recommend that you get one? We've got them here. you can have different coloured ones. You can have whatever you like. You can have the same one as me. It's entirely up to you. But it's just going to sit there, and it's going to make sure that as I sew around acres of toweling robe, that is going to give me a nice, very nice, equal edge. How posh is this going to be? And it just means that you can get a little bit of a wriggle on. Now, as we come to our first corner, we're going to stop, and you can mark it if you want, 1/4 of an inch away. And then we're going to sew at a 45-degree angle. So straight, and then 1/4 of an inch off at a 45-degree angle. Now, what we're going to do is a little jiggery pokery. Yeah. Where you move it up and away, and then you realign it on the seam there. So it gives you a little triangular bit there. So that again, pull it up and away, in line with that 45-degree, pull it back down so that everything is in line. And you can feel where you can mark it with your finger, where that finished, and that's where you're going to start sewing again. So where that 45-degree line is, that is where you will start sewing again. There you go. All the way down to the next corner. I am loving these fabric combos together. But then saying that, I was totally chuffed with the chambray and the fish. I just thought they looked gorgeous. And you might be wondering, well, why didn't you just do that again? Because these are not going to be samples. I wouldn't imagine these will be samples that we sell. Could be wrong. But if the kids love them as much as I do, then they will get heavy usage this summer. But I know some of you go and do your laps of a morning, so I thought this might be a quick, easy one for you. And again, fully washable. I would not be able to sew at this speed if I was busy worrying about, am I sewing at 1/4 of an inch? But my edges are all up together. There's my ending, so I'm going to want to stop sewing. Goes up, and it goes down again. You can always mark it with your finger, so you can see where you then need to start sewing again. Whoops. And there we go. Let me know which combos you think you're going to do. Are you going to do Liberty? Are you going to do a chambray, full chambray? Are you going to delve into your stash And just get yourself your 3/2 metre of chambray and use that somewhere else. Fold it away, fold it down in line, up. So it goes up so that it's sort of in a straight line and then comes back down again. Nearly there. You really are. Joe, your cork bag that you made, I was so impressed firstly that you'd made it so quickly after the show. That for me is like the ultimate compliment. When I've made something on a show and within a week you've made it. Like, good on you, gal. We gifted the one that we made on the show to Emily's teacher because it had the Kaufman in the middle. This is the grab and go bag. Because it had the Kaufman lining and it had the metallic cork on the outer. So it was all glittery and sparkly. And in Emily's school report, I might have to print it off and frame it for when she was a teenager and horrible. But it said that she was glitter and sparkle personified. I thought, yeah, you haven't had her on a after a night of little sleep. But yeah, glitter and sparkle personified. So we did indeed give her teacher a glitter and sparkly bag. Now, believe it or not, we are nearly back to the beginning. And what we're going to do there is just about 1/2 inch or so. Oh, no, we did need 2 strips. Out of those 2 full strips, that's all we had left. That worked then, didn't it? Now. But oh yes, I was going to show you, wasn't I? If you didn't want to bind it, all you'd need to do is turn it over and over again and then just stitch down. Over again, so you've got no raw edges showing, and sew it down. And that's all that you would need to do if you didn't want to go through this fabulous process. But if you do want to just take that little bit of time, little bit extra time, then away we go. Jane, look at Jane. She's here. She's in the mix, ready to go. Jane, I'm going to start from a corner. I'm going to show everybody how to do this corner. So we're going to turn it over, and your binding will be just turned over there, just by 1/2 inch. You can stitch it down, and then it just all looks really, really smart. In the corners, in fact, I'll do this on a close-up. Jen, I think everybody needs to see your t-shirt as well today. So you'll come stitch, 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 stitch down there. And then you'll just fold that up. So it'll come stitch, stitch, stitch straight down. And then you'll fold that up, and that'll give you a 45-degree angle. And so when you get to there, you'll stop, turn around, and then carry on sewing the other way. I don't know if you saw any of that. You'll sew down. Would it just be easier to sew it and show it, Jane? Just would be easier, wouldn't it? Yeah. Sometimes I think I make life too complicated. So sew down. you know that that is going to fold up onto your next line, and that gives you a 45-degree line. So when you get there, you just spin and away you go down the next line. That's it. And that's your corner done. Isn't it, Jane?
Lovely.
Yay!
Lovely.
Thank you very much, Janie O.
Thank you.
Are you going to show everybody your t-shirt?
Well, got no face on, but never
That's
mind.
all right. I'm not looking at your face. I'm looking at your t-shirt.
See
Quilters
it.
are... Oh, no. I haven't changed the angle.
Which is he?
Quilters are peacemakers. I
There we
love
go.
that. And your earrings match. It doesn't go unnoticed, Jane. We spot these things. We spot these things well enough. So Jane is just going to sew that around for me so that I can get on, because otherwise you've got to sit and watch me sew. More straight lines. We don't want to. We do not want to do that. Right. So we now have... What do we have? That was our leftover bits. These are the pieces that you can then use when you make your hair wraps to then bind the hair wraps. Yes. Might give this a quick press. Ooh, treat yourself. Just steamed up my glasses, haven't I, more than anything else. Right. If you were using two pieces because they were directional, then you would sew, you'd put them right sides together. You would sew across the bottom seam, and then you would end up having a piece of fabric that size. Okay? The measurements mean that even if you are cutting in one continuous length, you will end up with the same size, even if you've had to do a directional fabric. So on this bag, on this one, this was directional. So this was cut in two pieces, but my lining was cut in one length, and they ended up being the same size. So it was all good. So we're going to make this portion of the bag, and then, like I say, the towel just then tucks into that back pocket, and you can probably fold it really neatly. And then these side bits just tuck under. If you want to put a popper to hold those top bits under, then you can, but it's not really a problem. So we're going to insert the zip. You are going to need a zip to go across that top edge. Now, I've got a pair that I use for zips that are blunt as a badger's, and I'm going to use that. There we go. And we're going to pull this apart, and then we're going to get our quilter's wash away tape, because, you know, it's been half an hour and I haven't used it yet. So we're going to pop our quilter's wash away tape. In fact, where are all my scissors? I had a quick tidy up before we came on air. I don't know where I've put any of them. I do love that fabric. Someone said to me, are they mackerel? I don't know. I'm not good with my fish at all. I know what shape I expect mackerel or haddock or cod to be at the fish and chip shop. It's never mackerel. Don't know, they could be sardines. I know what a sardine looks like. Might be a sardine. Who knows? Josh is the fish knowledgeable person. For me, it's just a really lovely fabric, and it's got all the colours that I want to go with my toweling. So that's about as fish technical as I get. How long do fish live? Does anybody know? Because when we first moved in here, so 8 years ago, I put some fish in the, it's an old gypsy trick, I believe, in the water trough, horse's water trough, and they have absolutely thrived. I mean, it's ridiculous. They are huge, absolutely huge. Only 3 of them. But honestly, these goldfish are like this. They're massive, absolutely massive. And it's a really old horseman's trick, is to put fish in your water tank for the horses, and it just keeps all the flies away and everything else, keeps the water clean amazingly. It's amazing. Right, we're going to, this is our zipper side. We're going to put that down. This would be the right side of our outer fabric. Right side of the outer fabric. And then this is our lining. In the instructions, obviously, I've used different colours, so it's really easy to tell what's your lining and what isn't. Obviously, I'm being very decadent and lining in my Liberty as well, and why wouldn't I? And then I'm just going to stitch down there. In fact, let's do the other end at the same time. If you are, note to self, if you are using the same fabric for your lining, please just make sure that the side with the teeth is facing down the same sides. So my teeth are facing down onto the same piece of fabric. Okay? You don't want to put one facing up onto what is effectively your lining fabric. Or maybe it's a good job that I did you this so I could show you. Right. So we're going to stitch down both sides. And then we're going to turn it through. Just give it a little press. And when we're doing this, we're just making sure that this zip and the fabric is going to be pulled away from the seams. Okay. Susan says, good morning. Same thing happened to my daughter's friend when she came for tea. Need to say she was never allowed to come again. What did she do? Oh, break things. Yeah. Can you use a seam gauge on a computerized machine? Right, let's talk about this. Because Gary from Dukey and I had a big, long conversation about this. If you are in any doubt, please don't. I know that with my Dukey machines, underneath there is nothing computerized. Nothing. All the computery bits and bobs are in the main bit here. That's where all of that sits, which means that with a magnet onto just that bit there, which is the only place, by the way, it will sit here, then I'm fine. But if in doubt, just take these off and have a look. If you have got computer parts And I know I haven't because I did actually take this apart and clean it yesterday, would you believe? If you've got any sort of computery bits under there, don't use a magnet. But just take that off. If you haven't got any sensors or anything like that under there, then you are good to go. It really is as simple as that. And I don't actually need it for this bit anyway. But for most machines, I'm not going to say all because there's always going to be someone with some fancy schmancy machine. Then the computerised bit isn't in that bit. But like I say, the easiest way to tell is just to undo and have a look underneath. But if in doubt, you can get, if you don't want to use a seam gauge, you can get a foot with a seam edge on, which I used to have for this machine, and it is in my box of feet. I think I must have left it at Crate and Craft or something somewhere because I haven't seen it for ages. I'm going to have to buy another one. But it had a seam edge on there, and that was equally brilliant. So if you are worried, you can always get a foot for your machine that has a seam edge, and then you don't have to worry about using a seam guide. And now I'm just going to very quickly just top stitch, baste, whatever you want to say, just down the sides. This is just so that I know I'm keeping my fabric together. You can do this on a long stitch if you want. This doesn't have to be perfect, you are going to cover this over anyway with your handle. You need just over 1.5 meters of webbing, and I'm not going to give it exactly. I've used between 65 and 70 inches for my webbing, but again, this doesn't have to be an exact science. So what we're going to do now is have a little ramage. Actually no, we're going to trim off the ends of our zip so that we are nice and neat and flush. You see, if Jane's still sewing, that would have been me. You and me just still sewing straight lines around the edge. Zipper jig. Ooh, let me have a little look in my bag. Oh, where are my octopus zips? Where did I put my octopus zips? One of those would have been perfect, wouldn't they? I might go for. I'm going to go for one like that, and then I can easily hang a little charm or something off it. Yeah, it's up to. This was just a box I found on my desk. I was like, oh, that's quite smart. Oh, that's quite smart. No, I'm going for that. Oh no, look, I've got it in a darker colour. I'm going for that one. I had a gorgeous star, you see, and then I was like, haha. Does that mean that these are now starfish? And in my head that was hilarious this morning. It was early. I'm just going to give myself that excuse. We're going to go and do the old trick of threading on twice. So we're going to put our zip on first. Take the zip off the other end. Flat side down into there. Open it up again. And what this does is means that it's closed that end. Now, okay, if you get a little loopy bit like that, then you haven't put it on equally. So go back and do it again. Oh, I'm such a slave driver. Come in at a nice angle. Helps if you can attach it onto something so it's not running away up the desk from you. But yeah. Or is that just because? Yes, I've threaded that better that time. Or have I? Anyway, thread it so that when it goes on, you are happy. This is going to be covered by your webbing. So if it is a little off centre there, it doesn't matter. All I'm looking for is for the zip to be nice and flush. Stop running away up my desk. I need to find the box that I had. Do you remember I used to have it on a... See, I can see I haven't labelled that. Oh no, maybe that one will work. There. Can you see? So there's no loop there. We're all good. Or is there on the bottom side? Ah, you can drive yourself mad, by the way, doing this. Trying to get it right. But it is kind of worth doing. Because then you know that your zips are held together as you sew. Whee! And also you get really good at threading your zips on. Which I bet none of you actually practice, do you? There you go. See, that is perfect. I'm really happy with that. You are going to sit your zip at the top, okay? And you'll feel the edge there. Trim that back. And then get yourself some binding. I've got some greys here. Here we go. Ah, thanks, Jane. As if by magic and perfect timing. Well done. I just had to thread my zip about 18 times, so you know, that kept us all entertained for a bit. Like I say, I've gone for about 65 to 70 inches, but if you're making for someone a bit smaller, you might want to make that a bit shorter. If you're making for someone a bit taller, adjust it for what's going to suit you. Just finish those edges off so they're not going to fray. If you can't do that, if you're using one that's sort of entirely cotton and you can't do it, then it's not the end of the world. Just tuck it under instead. Okay. And if you're too worried about the flame, trust me, I do completely understand. It has taken me however many years of sewing to do that and not set fire to them. We're going to find the midpoint in the top here. I'm using a pen that will be heat erasable, so we're all good. I'm going to move this one out of the way. And then along that top line there, oh, Jane's so clever. She's so clever. Let's find that top there. There we go. And we're just going to marry up those lines together. You can clip that in place if you wish. Clippity clip. So we're sitting central. And again, if you want to just double check that, then you can. And I'll bag is folded neatly there. What I did, I just ran a little bit of tape, sort of half on, half off, down the side there. This is not going to give you an impeccable hold, but it's going to give you enough of a hold to get everything where you need it to be until you can pin it heavily. So this is my strap. And I'm going to place that in line with the edge, going halfway along, so that that raw edge is going to be covered. The end of the zip is covered, and we're all good. And then I'm going to fold that under like that, fold it under again like that, so that I know that it's not twisted in any way, shape or form. Take this off. So my binding is in line with the binding at the front there. And again, just placing that halfway. And then pop as many pins in as you need to hold that. And we're going to stitch around there and across the bottom. Now if you want to go across the top, down, along, up, across, down, and do a double stitch along there, then you can. If you want to do it just in a oneer, you can do that if you would like. But the main aim of this is to keep everything held in place. And this creates that pocket at the back that we then flip our towel into. Now you can use and do these with your old towels and upcycle your old towels. Just bear in mind they're going to be a lot bulkier than the bamboo one. But if you're making for kids on a budget, then you may well want to just use up some old towels. Then that's also a thing that you can do. And just make the bag portion of it. But I want to have matching hair towel and everything else. So I'm going to go across, down, all the way across, up, across. You can just go across and do that and then just sew this separately at another time. But if you want to do it all in a oneer, as they say, then you can. You can. And you're just top stitching. What I would say is have your magnetic pin dish to hand, just somewhere nearby that you can just pull those pins out, because the last thing you want is for them to get caught or trapped in any way in that toweling. And then you go to clean yourself off and have a pin stick in you. That would probably wreck your day. Certainly wouldn't do a lot for mine. Oh no! Oh, seriously. Yeah, it's happened. I have run out. I filled my bobbin yesterday. I thought, have I got enough to do 2 of these? Have I? No is the answer. No, you have not. Where did that go? we can call her. Won't be 2 ticks. There it is. So close. We nearly got there. We are so close. Yeah, it was when I went to clear out yesterday. I was like, oh, actually, no, that does need a little bit of a clean. And I was like, oh no, it really needs a clean. So up came all the top and everything, like it was had a full blown whatever. It's like, what are you putting off? By the time that I'd done this and mucked out the rabbits. Go again, shall we? Whoop. There goes a pair of scissors off the desk. Oh no! Gonna have to pin it again. Soz everyone. Bear with, bear with. It really didn't do anything, did it? At all. That's all jolly annoying. Right. Quick fix, but those pins. Let's get those pins back again. Quick. Unless you did a fresh bobbin at the start of every single show, and then you just end up with part bobbins everywhere. It's just never going to be a thing. They're always going to run out at some point, aren't they? Okay, so we're going to stitch across the top. Check it is actually stitching. Move everything out of the way, else it will all come tumbling off my desk. Look, it's amazing how much you can hide, isn't it? It's the same when you're quilting. It's like, oh, how much did I manage to hide under there? Let's snip those initial threads away. Oh. And now we can actually start to sew. There we go. Tuck your towel through when you're sewing along the bottom. not sewing over my pins because they're not sticking out that far. Spin around at the top. And then sew down the other side. So now we've encapsulated the raw edges all the way. Just come these out the way now. And when you get to the bottom, you might just want to stop there and then start again down the other side, or you might want to reinforce the bottom of the bag here and just sew across there to go up the other side of the handle. It's entirely up to you. Then when I reach the handle, I'm just going to spin it around and sew back up the side. That I didn't sew down initially. Unhook it out of your machine, and that is the basics of it. So what you've got then is you've got your front pocketed bag fully lined, in this case in Liberty, gorgeous, and that's a good size bag by the way as well. If you want to add any other pockets or anything on the front then you can, and then at the back you've got a whole other pocket, okay? So all you're going to do is fold it over, and you can lay this out and fold it over really, really neatly because you won't be working on a tiny desk. You'll have acres of beach and sand to play with. Just fold that up, and then this tucks in to your bag here. And there it is. So that's all tucked in. Tuck those side bits under, make sure everything's tucked. Tuck, tuck, tuck. And then away you go. That's it. Ta-da! You've got a zip pocket so nothing's going to fall out when you're toweling yourself, or when you're at the beach, or you just want to leave it, or whatever. And then it just looks like a messenger bag. It's the toweling messenger bag, really. And then, from what you've got left over, let me very briefly show you, because you'll have a long thin strip. If you fold that in half, that long thin strip, now this is in the other set of instructions. This is your bamboo bathroom set. What you will do is curve off the front here. So I make sure that I end up with the really long filaments on the inside, because they are the bits that are going to suck up the water. We have had these now for years. You can see how tiny Emily was, and we still use them. We still use them all the time. So you'll get a hairband, pop half a hairband on the end there, bind around the base, sew a button on there. Obviously you've got to sew that seam there, but honestly these are so simple and easy. And then you'll have a matching one to throw in your bag. Well, I will with my blue one. Throw in your bag and away you go. Which for me I just think is fabulous. And then with what you've got left over, you can then make your little makeup wipes and everything to go with it. So that's today's make. Okay, when the bamboo toweling, we've only got what you can see. That's it. Ba-ba. And when you buy a metre of that, you pop yourself a ½ metre of our chambray in there, minimum ½ metre, and you'll get that ½ metre for free. You can put more in as well, of course. I did my initial bag. That was all bound. Get on with this. Show you my binding. That was all bound in the grey, and it was lined in the grey. So I had a ½ metre of the fish, and let me show you, I had a lot of fish left over. I had all of that. That's a double front and back of that. And I've also made a couple of wipes as well. So there was, there was plenty left over if you end up with a metre in total of fabric to do everything, and your metre of your towel. Then you can make 3 or 4 different things, which starts to become really cost effective. So we like that a lot. Tomorrow we are going to work on a different way to do handles for bags. We've made so many different bags, but just by changing up the handles you can get a completely different look. And also I'm very aware that handles can make or break a bag. They can also make it look really professional or not. And so we want to go for professional, but if you're having to buy your straps every time, that isn't cost effective. So we're going to show you a way to make a professional looking handle with boning, with corset boning. So do join me for that tomorrow. Take care. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.